24 hours, one ancient city. Can you experience the best bits of Hue in just one day? Well, today we're going to find out as we're exploring an abandoned water park, ancient tombs, a royal palace, and much more. So we're going to be doing it all on a budget. So how much does it really cost? Can you actually complete all of Hue in just one day? And in the end, was it really worth it? Well, you're going to find out. And if you enjoy, smash that like and subscribe button. Now let's get into it. Nature has taken over pretty much everything. It'd be quite scary to come here at night. It has such a post-apocalyptic feel. Final rest place of the emperor. Even though he took all that money, never actually saw his tomb himself. So he did a lap of the Huang village. Everything was literally incense shop. The best dumplings that people have ever had. Arrived at the Hue Citadel, the imperial capital of Vietnam. 7 levels, each dedicated to a different Buddha. Fat monk right at the front to welcome you in. It's a little bit like the car of Harry Potter. They've actually got some loads of really nice restaurants. For our 24-hour itinerary here in Hue. Good morning, Vietnam, and welcome back to the vlogs, where today we're here in Hue and we're going to be exploring the city and outer areas for 24 hours. So we're going to be seeing some tombs, the Citadel, and right now we're here at the Thuy Tien Waterpark, which has been abandoned since the early 2000s. So let's go exploring. To get into the water park, it is completely free. However, some locals did come up to us at the entrance and asked for a small fee of 20,000 dong. This is for the upkeep of the park itself for the tourists, and we also got a free bottle of water from it too. I have read reviews and they basically say that you don't actually have to pay, you can walk past them and ignore them. However, for such a small price and a free bottle of water, we thought, why not? So in the center of the park there is actually a giant dragon statue, and apparently at its head there is an observation deck, so hopefully we can go up there and see some cool views. It's really eerie as you walk around. It's got like a post-apocalyptic feel to it. It's just completely abandoned. There's no one around whatsoever. But it is pretty cool inside. So now I'm going to head upstairs to see if we can find the observation deck. Everything's so dark, it's really quiet. Quite scary. There is some cool artwork there as you make your way up to the top, and then basically just loads of graffiti up and down the walls. 2017 Canada, I can see there. I wonder what the earliest bit of graffiti was, because I'm sure it was closed towards the start of 2000. I think it was 2003 said, or 2005 as we walked in, so it's not been open since then. We have made it up to the dragon's mouth, where the viewpoint is over the water park, and it looks incredible. We're hoping to go and see the water slides in just a second. It looks like there's like a pump here or something. They used to maybe spray water out from up here, because I'm sure that's a pump from my civil engineering knowledge. And then it looks like it's a water gun, so it's shooting out here. Obviously, it's like a little spurt coming out of the dragon's mouth, which is pretty cool. It's just so eerie how abandoned it is. It's amazing. We also just had a photo shoot. There were some people from South Korea that were already up here taking photos, and they were like, oh, we'll take a photo. And I was like, okay, that's great. Yeah, thank you. Stood there, and then he got us in different poses, different positions. We've got about 30, 40 photos now from this dragon mouth, but it's pretty cool to meet them. So the reason that the water park had to close was due to financial issues and management issues, but it does mean now that the locals can run it and have not had to pay a penny to run this tourist attraction. So you can see just down here, there is actually a lazy river that does not look the most prettiest of lazy rivers, I have to say. I wouldn't want to go down that one. And then there's also the water slide up here, which again, does not look like something I would ever want to give a go at. Should we go up and have a look at the water slide? There's only a small little bit of path left to come up here as nature has taken over pretty much everything, which is cool. Right, let's come up the side of here. You can see it's like moss all up the side, the walls. Stairs are slowly being chipped away, probably as more people come to visit. Right, here we go, up to the top of the water slide. Beth, which one are you going down? These look grim. And there you go, you can see the pool down at the end that you would have slid into, that is now green. It is cool though, I have to say. 3 separate water slides here. Probably would have been really good fun too, but they are now just completely abandoned, disgusting. It'd be quite scary to come here at night. Wouldn't want to do that. This used to be a toilet block, and to be fair, it doesn't look that much worse than the toilet that we saw on the train in Laos. The only people who are sliding into this pool now are the pond skaters. nothing else, but look at how grim the slides look. It's got like a layer of moss or black just down the sides of them. It has such a post-apocalyptic feel. It's just so eerie and scary. This is obviously used to be the kids area there with a little play bit in the centre. And then obviously this is how you got into the pool with a shallow side here. And then the lazy river that went around the edge is just here. But all these slides and stuff at some point, especially the dragon statue in the centre, it must all fall down because no one's keeping it like standing. There's not been any extra structures added to it. All the steps you can see are crumbling as we're going up to the top of the slide. So at some point it could just all collapse. So I've not actually shown you where we are staying this evening. So we're staying at the Jade Hotel, and we arrived there earlier on the sleeper bus, which if you want to check that video out, that was yesterday. So go and check that out at the end of this video. So we got a taxi from the Jade Hotel to here. Cost us 104,000 dong, which is about £3.20-ish. So wasn't too expensive either. The taxi driver did offer to stay here, but it'll be interesting to see whether he's actually here because we're just coming back to the end of the loop now. But it's now 9:35, so we took about an hour and 20 minutes to go around the whole thing, and we're going to get a taxi now to the next activity, which is one of the tombs. The Grab taxi cost us 56,160 dong to get here, which is about £1.75, so not too expensive. We then bought a combo ticket for 2 of the tombs and the Citadel. That cost 840,000, so that's about £26 for the both of us. So again, not too expensive. But we've arrived at the first tomb, and I keep nearly calling them temples, but that is the Khai Dinh tomb, which is right in front of us. They started building it in 1920, and it took them 11 years to build, so it was only finished in 1931. I'll tell you a bit more about it as we look inside. So this tomb is the royal tomb of the Emperor Khai Dinh, who was actually in the 12th emperor of the Nguyen dynasty. Apparently this tomb is meant to be one of the best looking tombs in Vietnam, and it's meant to be one of the best looking sites too, as it has got French, Vietnamese and Chinese design inside. The tomb itself looks amazing, and it's giving me Raiders of the Lost Ark vibes from Indiana Jones, where he's like running away from the boulder. It's really intricate, the design, it just looks amazing. How amazing the design is in here. The tomb looks incredible. A little bit of information about the emperor himself. He was very for the French regime, and he went and supported all of their policies, which obviously didn't go down very well with the Vietnamese people. On top of that, he also upped the taxes for this tomb itself. So he raised the taxes to make his tomb look better and prettier, which again burdened the Vietnamese people. So overall, he wasn't really that popular. But obviously inside, what we could see there was his burial chamber and a bronze statue of himself on the top of it. So even though he planned the construction of the tomb and funded it all through heavy taxes, he never actually got to see it completed. So it started in 1920 being built. He then died in 1925, and it was only his son that got to see it in 1931 when it was completed. So he, even though he took all that money, never actually saw his tomb himself. So the next stop is the Minh Mang tomb. So to get here from the other tomb, it cost us 81,000 dong, which is around £2.50 again. So not too expensive. And you'll find that all the Grab drivers say they'll wait for you for free and then they'll charge you cash, but the same price that you get on the app, because for them, they're having to pay all the fees, obviously, with the Grab taxes. But every single one has asked us so far, but we want to pay with the app because we're using our card then, we're not actually using cash. So we've had to say no to them all, but they will wait for you if you do have cash. So it's probably an easier way of doing it. However, when we order a Grab, they come within like 1-2 minutes anyway, which is good. But here we go, making our way into the next one, which is already looking a lot bigger than the previous one. It's quite a cool walk in, as we've got the trees either side of us and then the entrance just there ahead. So Emperor Minh Mang actually reigned from 1820 to 1841, and his tomb is right here in front of us now. He was actually known for being a very powerful leader, and he sort of didn't want any influence from other foreign countries, so he tried to stay away from the West. He also was not a big fan of Christianity at all, so it left Vietnam quite isolated but very powerful. In all of the tombs on the way in, you'll find some of these slabs. Now, these slabs tell you a little bit more about the emperors themselves, the history, so it's got lots of stuff dated on it. However, we can't really see anything right now. It looks like it's all rubbed off, but someone may have got a photo before it did. This here is the Minh Pavilion, which is the final rest place of the emperor himself. We're just wondering what the difference was between a king and an emperor. And basically, an emperor rules an empire, which is like multiple territories, whereas a king only rules one kingdom itself. So that's what is the difference between a king and an emperor. So you don't actually get to see the tomb here. It's up here, but it's behind this 3-meter wall, and then around it is basically an underground palace where he is kept. And they only open it once a year on his death anniversary, and then that's it. But I don't think anyone can actually go in and see the tomb now, because he was actually taken through like an underground passage. They closed the underground passage, and then since then it's just not been opened. That's going to be it now for the tombs. It was quite interesting learning all about the ancient history of Hue itself and how it's the ancient capital of Vietnam, whereas Hanoi obviously is the actual capital, which we saw was a lot different to this. I'm looking forward to seeing the Citadel a little bit later, but right now we're going to head over to the Huong village, which is meant to be a cool, pretty little village and very quaint too, and hopefully there might be a restaurant that if we can eat there, but we'll have to have a look around and see what that's like. Booked a Grab taxi for 124,800, which is around £3.89. So in the Huong village, they do a lot of incense making, and then there is also a lot of farming too. we did a lap of the Huong village and it was stunning. There's like cafes and bars, but apart from that, everything was literally incense shop. Literally every shop that you walk past was selling exactly the same thing, even like now. So I've got the one next to us here selling incense. Guess what they sell over there? More incense. Over there, more incense. And then even more incense over there. Quite a lot of the tour buses stop here too, we noticed. So there's like lots of them making incense, so you can go and do that. Don't know how much it would have been to do that, but we're just going to get a taxi now to the Chay Corner, which I believe, is it a vegetarian restaurant? Yeah, it's a vegetarian restaurant that we're going to go and get some food and then return back to the hotel and finally check in because we're starting to get tired now. And if you don't know why, go and check out the vlog from yesterday where we did a 10-hour in the end, I think it was meant to be 12 hours, but a 10-hour sleeper bus from Ninh Bình all the way down to Hue. The taxi has dropped us off and it looks like we're walking down the ends almost, but we're trying to go and find the restaurant where we're eating. It costs us about £1 to get the Grab taxi over to here, so we'll add that to the tally too. We've arrived here at the Chay Corner restaurant and it's lovely. It's a very sort of traditional little house where this old lady's basically running this restaurant from. It's had loads of good 5-star reviews too. The dumplings have just arrived. They look good too. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. It looks very nice. They're called actually special dumplings. So these are the special dumplings. They look very tasty. This is the fried tofu with seaweed, which also looks really good too. And we've also ordered a banh mi, which is a vegetable sausage banh mi too. So one of those sandwiches if you've not seen them in the other vlogs. We're going to start off with the tofu seaweed bites. So let's grab one of these. We'll dip it in here. Hopefully it's not going to be too spicy. Let's get a small dip. Oh dear. Very hot, very fresh too. It actually tastes really good. Sort of like a chicken nugget. Number 2, the dumplings. So we'll go for one of the special dumplings on top. Dip it in what looks like soy sauce. Let's give it a try. They're very nice. The dumplings are actually on most of the reviews saying it's the best dumplings that people have ever had. And I have to say they are good because they're fried. Usually when I have a dumpling and it's not fried, I think, oh, I'm not a massive fan of that. But when it's fried, it makes it taste that 10 times better. Finally, the vegetarian sausage banh mi, which looks very tasty. So I can't wait to give this a try. It's probably going to be better than the tofu ones too because vegetable sausage is much better than tofu. That's actually really nice. It's got a good flavour to it. I don't know what sauce they've used, but whatever sauce is in that is very tasty. The food was delicious, so we've decided to order some more. This is the traditional dumplings. So these ones aren't fried. That was actually very nice. It had quite a mixture of flavours. It came to 185,000 in the end, so that's just under £6, which is crazy. If you got all this in the UK, it'd be well over 20. The final Grab taxi back to the hotel cost around 60,000 dong, which is about £1.88. So overall, we've not spent too much money so far. Later on, we've just got the Citadel to go to. I'll show you around the room once we get back to the hotel too. And finally, we are here in the Jade Hotel, room number 402, which is a standard double room. It cost us £20 just for the one night whilst we are here in Hue. So let me show you around the room. Starting off with the bedroom. So you've got a TV up here at the back, which also comes with a fridge down at the bottom and a little drawer. So it's a good desk area too for me to do some work. And then here is the bed itself. So it's quite a nice bed. Got some snacks here, but I'm not sure whether you have to pay for those or not, so we're going to have to see. And then you've got a couple of desk chairs, bedside tables, and then somewhere to put all your suitcases. I mean, you can see the view outside there too, if I just quickly zoom in on that. And it's literally just a corrugated roof, which is outside. So not great views out of our window, but that's fine. Then into the bathroom, so you've got the sink, the toilet, the towels are up there, and a nice and big mirror. And then the shower, which is what we like to see behind a glass door. Well, not a glass door, a glass wall. And thankfully, it's a bit, I suppose it is a wet room, but at the same time, it stops the water from going on your feet whilst you're trying to shower or do your teeth, which is what I hate the most. But here we go. But overall, we're just staying here for the one night, as tomorrow we'll be heading over to Hoi An. So it's quite a nice room just for the night. I've just noticed too, they've both got plugs on either the side, which is good news. And should we see if it's a hard bed? Oh no, it's quite a soft one, because most of the ones here in Vietnam have been quite hard, so it's quite nice to have a soft bed too. Now I feel 20 times better. I'm all showered and cleaned. New outfit on too, which is really nice. Every time we get a sleeper bus, you have to wear it for the day before, the actual sleep, and then the day after, and it just gets horrible. Hot, sweaty, and I also had eggy socks on for nearly 24 hours, so I'm quite happy to be getting those eggy socks off. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and check out yesterday's vlog as to why I have got eggs on my socks. But we're now heading over to the Citadel, which shuts at 5 p.m, so we need to go and have a look around there. Hopefully it should have some cool ancient sites. Then if we've got time, we'll go and check out the pagoda on the other side of Hue, and if we don't have time, we'll just go straight for food later on, where hopefully we can find some tasty food. So let's get going, otherwise we're going to miss everything. We've arrived at the Hue Citadel, a UNESCO heritage site, which was actually built between the years 1802 and 1945 and was the imperial capital of Vietnam. So we're going to go take a look inside, and it looks beautiful from the outside, so I'm hoping it looks just as good from the in. So after doing some research, I found that it was the imperial capital of the Nguyen dynasty. Now, I don't know anything about this Nguyen dynasty, but it keeps coming up on a lot of historical things that we go to. So if anyone's got any information on it, let me know in the comments. Just summarize it like it's for dummies. Just let me know what it means, because I don't know what the Nguyen dynasty is whatsoever. It does look really impressive, and it is very spacious too. And I believe, after some research, that it was actually modelled from the Forbidden City in Beijing. So from what I understand, Jia Long was the first emperor of the Nguyen dynasty, and he decided to build this whole citadel. And that was for any royal celebrations, political celebrations too, and also religious celebrations. He then passed it on to all of the other 13 emperors who died one after the other until the last one, which was abdicated in 1945. And that is why they don't need it anymore, because there is no longer a royal family. Look at how impressive this building is, how much detail has gone into the dragon, the columns here, and even the wall of the building. And I love the bright red windows too. It's quite funny actually, because my grandma used to have spode, and it's literally just the same. You actually merge in with the stairs. So it turns out that all of the ceramic is actually British porcelain such as spode. So it could be the exact same as what my grandma's got. So that was a really interesting and cool thing to see, the Citadel. I definitely recommend going there. But we're now heading off to our final activity, which is the Thien Mu Pagoda. It is completely free to enter, which is good. However, it does cost 75,000 dong to get there, so that's another £2.34 added to the list. So let's get a grab taxi over there. And we've made it to the last location, the Thien Mu Pagoda. It consists of 7 levels, each dedicated to a different Buddha, and it was built in 1601. And here it is, the sacred turtle in all its pride. It's also got one of those plinths behind it, but again, you can't actually see any of the writing on it. It must have all come off, unless someone can feel it, and maybe they can. It's a bit like Braille and you can see what it says, but apart from that, you definitely can't read it. Here here it is, the temple itself with a fat monk right at the front to welcome you in. So it is actually beginning to rain, so I'm not going to go in because you have to take your shoes off and I don't want to get my feet all wet, and especially after I've just had a nice shower. But here it is from afar, the pagoda, and it's actually the first time that we've seen a monk, who you can see there just walking across in brown, which is strange too because all the monks in Laos and Thailand were wearing orange. So very interesting. I don't know why that's the case, so if anyone does know, let me know down in the comments. It has got a really lovely garden in behind it too, with some bonsai trees and other plants. This car here looks a little bit like the car of Harry Potter that gets stuck in the Whomping Willow. But there's actually someone that got out and set himself on fire who was protesting against the discrimination of Buddhism. There is quite a bit more of the grounds to explore if you do want to. However, it's getting late here now, so we're going to head over for food because we are starving. And we're going to the Tinh Tam Vegan restaurant, so hopefully it should have some good Vietnamese vegan curries. You also get lovely views of what I believe is called the Perfume River. I may be wrong on that, so you can fact check me. We're now walking down the main street of Hue, and it's actually got loads of really nice restaurants. So definitely happy that we came to Hue, because we did a debate about not coming, but it is quite cool. Maybe you can spend a few more nights going to the really nice restaurants. We've arrived at the Tinh Tam Vegan restaurant, and Beth will show you around now. It's a really nice one. I'm happy because it's got the football on the TV, and then it's just like a basic sort of restaurant. It's just off the main road too, so it's nice and quiet, away from the cars, and hopefully cheaper prices too. They closed that road off, which is nice, and I've just seen a kid playing football down there too, which was quite nice to see. So I've ordered 2 drinks because I'm thirsty, so I've gone number 1 for the mango smoothie, which we'll give a try now. Nice, that's just what I wanted, something a bit more refreshing than the Huda beer, which I'm going to be trying. So this is the premium beer here, brewed in Hue. So we'll give it a try, see what it is like. That's quite similar to like ones that I have in the UK, like Heineken and Peroni. It's very similar to the two there, but it does taste quite nice, so I'm happy with that one. Beth's ordered a Sprite, and I'll let you know what the food's like once it's arrived. So the food has arrived, and it looks delicious too. We've both gone for soy chicken, however, I've gone for one with coconut sauce, so I've never tried this before. Hopefully it's going to taste good. We'll give it a try in just a second. And Beth has gone just for the curry itself. It's like a vegetable curry too. It's very tasty, so hopefully that'll taste just as good too. But let's give the chicken and coconut a try. So get a little bit of rice, bit of chicken, bit of the greens, and a bit of the sauce. Here we go. Nice and creamy. Bear in mind it's vegan, it's actually quite nice and creamy. I do quite like the coconut too. I thought it was going to taste like a korma, but it's not like a korma. It's a little bit like the milk coconut soup that I made in Chiang Mai. So if you've not gone and seen that, you can go back and watch it, but it tastes a little bit like that. So I'm happy days. I think it's going to be a nice one. The food came to 270,000 dong, which is around £9, so it's fairly reasonable, especially after I had 2 drinks too. I am loving the vibe down here though, with all the restaurants either side of the street. So you've got a few on that right hand side, some on the left, most of them playing football too, people trying to sell cards and stuff. But yeah, it's a really cool vibe here. I quite like the fact that it's not too busy either. Sometimes it can be like really compact, the streets, and it's really hard to push past people. But here, it just seems to be empty, which is quite nice. And there's a cool little guitar bar there by the looks of it. Loads of people still outside waiting. Got more bars here on the right and the left-hand side. It's really cool. So on the way back, we stopped off in a Kmart, which is basically the Vietnamese version of a 7-Eleven, and we bought some mint Oreos. So we're gonna have to give them a try. I'm not usually a massive fan of mint flavour, but we'll have to see. They came to 45,000 dong, which is about £1.20, £1.30. So that's more money off for today's spend. And then also we just went to an ATM to withdraw 3 million dong, and the fees on top of that were 60,000, so that's another £2 just in fees there. So overall we've not spent too much money today, especially considering how many taxis we have got to and from the different activities we've done. And that is it for our 24-hour itinerary here in Hue, and we've had a really good time. The favourite bit was the abandoned water park with that apocalyptic feel and just how unique it is. We've never seen anything like it before. Definitely recommend doing the Citadel too. That was really enjoyable, just taking a look around there. It looks really pretty, amazing pieces of artwork. The tombs were all right. They're just kind of like just go and see temples, same sort of feeling. You go inside, looks cool for about 5 minutes, and then that's about it, you leave. The village, which all it had was incense, so if you want to go see the incense village, feel free to do that. And then finally the pagoda, which we saw, that was probably the third favourite. I'll probably put that one up as third favourite, so go and see that for sure. Now, I've got the mint Oreo to try, so let's give it a bite and see what we think. I don't think I'll ever understand people that like mint stuff, like mint ice cream either, because it basically feels like you're eating toothpaste. So definitely not what I'd go for again. I'd stick to the plain Oreos. But I do hope you all enjoyed this vlog, and if you did, do make sure to smash that like button. It goes a long way to help supporting the channel, and also don't forget to subscribe too if you are new. And I'll see you all in the next one.